Happy Monday. It's good to have you here. And that really is the bones of this episode. I dare say we've all fallen into the foxhole of analysis paralysis. We've all got deeply wedded to some idea, some notion, some theory, some hypothesis even. And you learn and you want to know more. It's like today, I want to know more about how it's going to play out. There are so many things you can know, but the things themselves are inanimate, lifeless. Because it's not really the things that we want to know. It's not really the outcome that we're seeking to amass this knowledge, to understand the facts. Yesterday, I was writing a piece, as I do. I am a writer after all, that is my ken. And I was thinking, when do I get into flow? That state of happiness, that state of momentousness, that nothing else matters, everything else fades away and you just get soaked up into the work. Cal Newport puts it, deep work. And for me, it's not what's written, it's the writer that gives me the buzz. It's not the topics, it's the effect on the individual, and the individual being receptive to sharing with you that transformation. And I think when we think about any small victory or sensation of joy, that is in itself derived from an emotion. Think about a recipe that I found out about this morning from, of all places, The Guardian. A Japanese milk bread. And I'm fascinated by the recipe. It's very simple. The ratio is 1 part flour to 0.8 parts boiling water. It gets the gluten in a tizzy, and then you throw that into the fridge, ideally overnight, and then the next day you use that as a base. Sourdough bakers would reflect on that in a much more slower process as the mother. And I was getting quite giddy about the recipe, but actually it's the outcome of the recipe and the looks on people's faces as they take that first bite is what drives, what gets things moving, what brings the smile. And I'll finish today because I think what I'm driving at with this, I met a guy 10 years ago at Thinking Digital called Christian Payne at Documentally on the Twitters, and he puts out a great newsletter that, because I'm a tightwad, I only get the free version. He does a paid version, and he really does deserve the wonga for the amount of effort he puts in. Love it. It's passed by some runners. He puts in an enormous amount of effort. Deserves to be repaid. I mean, I've got my thoughts about the newsletter. I think it's a springboard. I think it's a lead magnet. I think it takes you to greater, more thick results. Whether that's, I don't know, a course or a book or an in-person workshop, it could be anything. But I made a bit of a play about this yesterday, saying it's not about the topic-based treatises. It's about the person who writes about them. I want to know about lives, and this is where audio mo's been such a great enlightening experience for me, just to get inside the heads of people and just to see the world and hear the world through them. And just a funny little anecdote. As a writer, I have a bee in my bonnet about the world of communication staying the same but always changing. The platforms largely different from one year to the next. The TikToks, the Snapchats, the what's next. But there are a lot of things that stay the same. There are a lot of bets you can make on the reliable, the uniform, the consistent, the constant, the newsletter. It's what Seth Godin says. It doesn't matter about the platform, it's the person. And he's written a blog post a day for 15 years. It's his thing. It's knowing where you're at. And the newsletter, for me, is where every business should be at. It's a way to ooze personality and get what's off your chest, off it, and into other people's eyes, to build a tribe, to form allegiances. And we should all be thinking newsletters. So I put out a note because I just found out that Arnold Schwarzenegger, there's a Terminator, hasta la vista baby, a bit of a weird Yorkshire version. He's got his own newsletter now. So my suspicion was that if one of the busiest men in the media, former California governor, Mr. Universe, always on a movie set, if he's got time to write a newsletter, I think there's an argument that if we want to show our charismatic, gregarious person of the people side, we should give it a go ourselves. And I copied him into the tweet. He's not been active of late on Twitter, so when he liked the tweet, and I got the ensuing avalanche of likes of the tweet because Arnie liked the tweet, it just felt like validation that I was onto something there, that actually newsletters humanise brands if in the hands of the right humans, which may contradict the theory. Maybe there aren't that many vivacious people working at the world's biggest companies, and you can be very neglectful of your customer of today and tomorrow by just phoning in the newsletter. It has to be spectacular, it has to be from the heart, it has to be useful, like anything that you put out on the web. Because the web isn't net zero, and we need to be conscious of the emissions. So just make sure that what you emit is a net benefit for the world. Anyway, thank you, and sorry once again for overstaying my welcome. It is a Monday, good place to start the day. Continued success to you as a listener, as a maker, and to Audio Mo. And have yourself a great week. It's been great catching up with you. Bye.
Okay, think of your mind as the house and your ears as the doors and windows. I'm going to come as Nick Knowles and buff up your rooms and excite your entrances. Welcome to Thacknology, the world of me, Dave Thackeray. Every day I'm trawling the web and world for ideas and inspiration to make your life a little more lavish. More often than not, it's just a plain old fun factory highlighting things to make us smarter, speedier, and smilier. Don't forget to leave me a message if you want something, anything discussed, regaled on Thacknology. I'm Dave Thackeray. I'm a writer. I like a microphone, but more importantly, I love to hear what you think. So get in, stick around. if only to keep me company. And remember, it can only get better from here. Thanks for being you. And for us, welcome to Team Factnology.